A very warm welcome to the news in details now. On Sunday, on behalf of His Excellency Paul Kagame, Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Dr. Vincent Biruta, presented the report of the 39th session of the African Union Development Agency, NEPAD, Heads of State and Government Orientation Committee, the report on institutional reforms, as well as the report on Africa Leadership meeting investigating in health. The minister was attending 35th ordinary session of the AU Assembly Heads of State and Government on behalf of the President. On the sidelines of the summit, Minister Biruta met and held discussions with his counterparts from Algeria, Morocco and Somalia. The two-day summit ended on Sunday. Moving on, people have been expressing confidence that if the preventive measures in place to fight the COVID-19 are respected, the country will without doubt defeat the pandemic. This comes as the infection rate has continued to fall steadily.
It's now been 10 days since amateur football players in Chichichiro district once again started playing the game they love and attribute the easing of COVID-19 restrictions to people understanding the importance of respecting the preventive measures in place. We were very happy. Being unable to play had resulted in everybody going their own way, and there was little socializing. Now the game has brought us back together again, and we are very happy. As a football player, I can tell you that coming here results in a person being far more physically active than doing exercises in isolation, which is why we prefer this, and it makes us happy. Everybody here must provide proof that they are fully vaccinated before being allowed onto the pitch, and we all wash our hands as we arrive. We also wear our face masks as soon as we leave because all of that matters. Driving school instructors remember all too well how difficult it was to survive when they were unable to work because of the COVID-19 restrictions in place, which is why they now take preventive measures very seriously. Life was extremely difficult. We had no work and could not even pay our rent. Now any student coming to us for lessons must first sanitize their hands properly, must be fully vaccinated, if possible even have gotten the booster shot, and also wear their face mask properly at all times. First, the student must sanitize their hands, and then we ask for proof of vaccination. In cases when we find that they are not vaccinated, we urge them to get the shot immediately. The COVID-19 restrictions were lessened towards the end of last month, but people have now understood that it does not mean that the preventive measures suddenly become irrelevant. I will do everything in my power to continue respecting the measures and urge everyone else to do the same. It is the only way we will ever defeat this pandemic. On New Year's Day, the COVID-19 infection rate stood at a 5.3% positivity rate, and on Saturday it was measured at 0.3%, while it stood at an average of 0.4% over the last week. Health experts attribute this to the fact that a large portion of the population is now vaccinated against the virus, with more than 7.1 million fully vaccinated, more than 8.6 million having received their first jab, and more than 1.1 million having been given a booster shot.
Some of the 13,670 families that have been registered by the Kigali City Administration as living in high-risk zones say they have been disturbed by the fact that their buildings have been marked for demolition for some time now and that they are not allowed to renovate them, yet they have been left in limbo over the matter of relocation. Take a look. For more than 4 years across Kigali City, there have been buildings with red crosses on them, meaning they are to be demolished.
The problem is that it is now impossible to get a renovation permit or even a loan from the bank because the house has been registered as scheduled for demolition. So we ask that you advocate for us so that they can tell us the way forward because we are stuck and confused.
Emmanuel Nyirinkindi, Executive Secretary of an Architectural Design Association, says there is a way to transform the high-danger zones into a place that is suitable for housing due to the availability of infrastructure and then relocate people back there afterwards.
ngira ngo urugero twatanga rworoshye ni za Rwezamenyo Nyamirambo aho mwabonye ko
I can give an example of Rwezamenyo in Nyamirambo. It has been proved possible that the infrastructure can be established in such places successfully. But there are also other places where this can't be applied to the nature of the place. And in such cases, we relocate people in order for renovations to be done, because sometimes it is not the landscape that makes an area a high-risk zone. There is also a way that people decide to construct their houses without planning, causing congestion, or the materials used are not strong enough. Hence, in case of flooding, we wouldn't be able to save them, which then becomes a problem.
The Vice Mayor in charge of urbanization and infrastructure, Dr. Meherad Maguru, says some of the residents living in high-risk zones have been relocated, but those who have not yet been relocated are allowed to make changes that are not more than 20% of the value of the house in the meantime before they are relocated.
Families that are living in high-risk zones are allowed to repair their houses, but are not allowed to reconstruct, so they can replace iron sheets or doors. But there's hope for some areas in Kigali. In some areas, renovations can be done depending on the infrastructure that will be established in them. We've started this project in Mazi, and we shall put their infrastructure and tell residents to renovate their homes in accordance to the master plan of that area.
According to Kigali City Administration, 13,670 households that are located in high-risk zones have been registered in the past 4 years, but many are still vulnerable and are still waiting for relocation, while others have been supported depending on their capabilities. Rwanda currently has urbanization rate of 18.4%, the goal being to hit 35% by 2035. Figures from the Rwanda Biomedical Center indicate that more than 6,000 people suffer from elephantiasis, a condition characterized by gross enlargement of an area of the body, especially the limbs. Sadly, most of who suffer from the terrible illness know little to nothing about what it is or what causes it.
The people we spoke to with the condition told us that they have no idea what caused it, only that it just happened. I used to be able to wear shoes, but now it's virtually impossible because of how much my feet have swelled. Add old age to the mix and I am basically unable to go anywhere. Then there is the problem of being discriminated against because you don't look like other normal people. The Rwanda Biomedical Center has noted that elephantiasis is among 20 neglected tropical diseases, especially in the western and northern provinces. Close to 40% of patients are found in the western province, where you find a lot of volcanic rock, which contributes to the likelihood of developing the condition in one's feet. Our efforts are now focusing on educating people about it and what causes it, as well as putting in place specialized clinics to treat it in all provinces. So far, we have established 12, with each province hosting at least 2. In Kigali City, there is 1. And in the near future, we want all clinics in the country to be able to treat elephantiasis, or at the very least provide the relevant information about it to patients. The sooner a patient comes in for treatment, the greater the possibility of a full recovery. The University of Rwanda has begun researching the disease with the objective of answering important questions about it. We must find out why some people living in that area from the same families get sick while others do not. We want to establish whether or not recessive genes might be at play here. We must also find a way of fighting the stigmatization that surrounds patients and the way they usually find themselves isolated in society. More than 6,000 people suffer from elephantiasis in Rwanda.
In just 1 year, up to 100 kilometers of electrical cables and pylons have been installed in the northern province, bringing electricity to places that had previously never had it. The initiative has been transforming entire communities.
Vumlia is a nurse at the Nyamichuchu Health Center in Burera district and knows all too well the difficulties of working without electricity, using things like candles to care for patients at night. That has all now changed with a power supply available in the area, making the health post far more efficient. Most of the sectors along Rwanda's border with Uganda now have electricity, something local residents greatly appreciate. Here in the cell, we now have machines that grind things like maize and sorghum using electricity, not diesel generators like it was before, which has greatly reduced costs. We thank the President of the Republic for this. He thought about us living along the border and gave us electricity. Energy distribution operations have continued in all 5 districts of the northern province, and up to 100 kilometers of electrical cables and pylons have been installed, bringing electricity to places that had previously never had it. Rwanda Energy Group officials in the province say 60.6% of people there now have electricity, with the goal being to hit 100% by 2024. 41% of the homes and establishments with electricity are on-grid, with 17% off-grid and using other sources like solar energy. Energy distribution across Rwanda is now at 69%.
And there you have it. On behalf of the entire news production team, thank you so much for your company. I'm Jane Mutoni. Have a great week ahead.